What's going on YouTube? This is Luke with Endless Entrepreneurs, just coming to you guys with a video here Friday night. Just trying to hold true to the everyday video for you guys for the next 22 or 23 days now. If you're new to my channel, I am a part-time eBay seller and a full-time corporate finance analyst. I build my business in my spare time. I love selling on eBay. I've been doing it very seriously for quite a few years now, and I specialize in men's clothing. Today I want to kind of talk about a different topic that I don't normally talk about. I mention it here and there for those of you who do follow me, but I'm pretty big on self-development. For me, it's a huge part of kind of how I run my business, how I run my day, how I run my life. And I've had a lot of requests from viewers over the last several months to, give kind of the top ones I recommend, talk about why I recommend them, how they've impacted my business. And even though I've given tidbits here and there, I just kind of decided to fulfill the requests and put them all together in one spot in one video and just kind of go through why I enjoyed them. I just want to check on my sound real quick here. What's going on, drummer? Hey, Hanev. Thanks for stopping in. Hi, TJ. Hey, Econ Boss. How's my sound, guys? I'm in a new location, trying a different room out because we've been moving some stuff around the house. Is my sound echoing, or do I sound okay with my mic? I just wanted to check in on that before I get too far down the road here. Hey, Labels of Love. Hey, Michelle. Krillin just asked, do you prefer technical analysis or fundamental analysis? I'm not going to try to answer a question I don't quite understand. So hopefully that doesn't make me sound too ignorant, but if you can elaborate a little bit for me, I will try to answer the best that I can before we jump in here. A little boomy, but fine. Let me see if I can just turn it down a little bit. Yeah, I'm worried about the echo. How is that? Is that any better? Let me see. I also can try to come out of here a little bit. That might be a little better. Yeah, that's better. Not as echoey. Perfect. Let me see about Krillin's question before I jump in here. I just want to elaborate on whatever he's asking. Oh, those are stock analysis. Oh, Krillin, you're trolling me a little bit, huh? Very good. I will not try to speak. Oh, the financial analyst reference. Yeah, so I work in more like private equity finance, not in stocks or anything like that. I work on more of like revenue reporting for companies. So a little different flavor, but I appreciate the question, Krillin. Hi, everyone. Thanks for stopping in. Looks like we got quite a few people watching live already. I'm just going to jump in with the content because I really want to cover, the ones that I care about here, make sure I'm giving you guys value. And then we'll do a bunch of Q&A at the end just because it's Friday night and why not. So the first one that has had the most impact on my life, without a doubt, and on my eBay business for sure, has been The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. I'm not sure if any of you guys have read that yet or not. I'm a big audiobook person. I do read in the mornings, but I have this issue with I pretty much fall asleep after about 10 to 12 pages. So I usually start my morning with it just as I'm getting my coffee and stuff, and I'll read 10 or 12 pages. But then I listen to audiobooks all day while I'm at work, while I'm driving. I pretty much listen to them anytime I can. And that's where I consume the biggest portion of my content. And The Compound Effect, I've actually listened to it probably 4 or 5 times completely through. Darren Hardy does a great job in it. I believe he's the one reading it, which is even better because sometimes it's hit or miss when you get the author themselves reading it. Sometimes they're really good, sometimes they're really bad. He happens to be good. He enunciates really well. He's got a lot of energy. But The Compound Effect kind of basic premise and why I'd recommend this, especially for eBay sellers, is that it just talks about momentum and consistency. And I know in a lot of our videos, a ton of our YouTube resellers, talk about how listing every day, having consistent action every day, and building and snowballing is such a huge thing of growing your business. And that's really what his book is all about. And he goes into a lot of tangible tactics on how to weave that into your life in little subtle ways. And I think that was the biggest game changer for me. Was it wasn't like monumental shifts. Like it wasn't uprooting my whole schedule or changing, huge blocks of time. It was literally just tweaking 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there and adding 5 here, taking 5 away here, and really stacking up all the activities that wanted to get me closer to my goal. And his book really highlights and talks about some pretty effective strategies to do that. It's an awesome read. Of all the ones that I've read, I mean, if you're getting into eBay or if you've been in eBay for a long time, or really just you have your own business in general, or just even goals that you're going after, it's a really, really good book. I honestly can't recommend it enough. It would be my top one. I'm just curious in the chat here if anyone has read that. Looks like everyone's saying they love audiobooks. And yes, I'm still awake. My sleep schedule's still a little messed up, so I'm just kind of riding the wave right now. I'm getting as much done as I can. So let me jump into number 2. So number 1 was, I'm just starting with the best, so the compound effect. The next for me, which I actually discovered before the compound effect, it's called 6 months to 6 figures. And it's not known as well, I would say, as it like kind of nationally. It's still really good, and he has a big following, but it's by Peter Voogd, Voogd. He has an entrepreneurial blueprint, which is another one that I've listened to a couple times. I pretty much own any of these audiobooks I've said I own. I have a subscription to Audible. It's $15 a month. I think it's probably the best. It's the best deal in town. You get 1 free credit a month for an audiobook, and a lot of times they cost way more than $15, so you're making out. And then you get a discount on Audible for buying audiobooks if you're a member. So that's basically how I consume most of my content. But so 6 months to 6 figures by Peter Voogd. It's awesome. He has a ton of energy, and he goes into a lot more of goal setting, which if you've watched my business plan video I put out, I think it was like January 3rd or 4th or something like that. I actually designed my business plan off of his goal setting, like the way that he views goals, the way he builds them, and he uses reverse engineering, which I think is like if you're going to goal set effectively, you need to reverse engineer. And what that basically means, I'm going to summarize here, and really I recommend listening to it because he does a much better job than I do. But basically it's like you pick your goal at that point in time. So 6 months, 10 months, 12 months, 2 years, whatever. And you go to the end where you want to be, and you start breaking down the steps, working backwards to get to where you are now, rather than think about how you're going to get there. You just act like you're there, and you start backing into where you are now. And it's just a really different way to think about it. But I built my business plan this year, and so far so good. I guess technically I'm behind pace on my 100K challenge, but I'm not for the cyclicalness of eBay. And it's a really awesome way to break down from like a yearly actions to monthly or quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily, hourly. And you just kind of reverse engineer each step at a time and back into it. But that's really the big premise of his. That's the big takeaway I had. There's a ton of more value in there, ton of good information. He talks a lot about habits and rituals, in your daily life. But that's like the biggest takeaway I took from it, which is how to reverse engineer effectively. Hey, Jason, thanks for stopping in. Yeah, Jason, just a little segue here. Me and Jason just met up, and another friend of his, and played pool, and I got my butt kicked real bad. Realized how bad I am at pool. I used to think I was kind of good. I know now that I'm not. I also know that you shouldn't ever bet money with Jason. We didn't tonight, but I know that I never will in the future. He definitely is a bit of a pool shark. So any green room members who are going to be at the meetup in Austin, don't fall prey to his pool skills. All right, so I'm going to keep going here. I want to get through all 5 of the books. So far we've covered Darren Hardy and the Compound Effect, number 1. 6 months to 6 figures, number 2. And sorry, Jason, I had to kind of troll Jason a little bit there. The third one, though, and you're going to see there's a kind of a big variety in these that I'm talking about. And they all specialize in different topics. They're all self-development. They're all based from entrepreneurs. They all have a different spin, but they all bring a different value set that's really helped my eBay business and really just my mindset as an entrepreneur. That's kind of why I wanted to share all of them together. So the third one it's called The Art of Exceptional Living by Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn is definitely one of like the, I guess, OGs you guys of self-development, and kind of one of the original people who started coming out with a ton of content way back in the day. And it's basically a compilation of all his best speaking. I think it's only an audiobook. I don't know that I've found an actual written book on it. I've only listened to an audio, but the link, and I have links for these guys in the description if you want to check them out on Amazon. Definitely shop around once you hit the link in there. But I at least want to get you to the main page that's sponsored there on Amazon. And it is affiliate link, so it does benefit. I do take a small commission if you do buy through there, so I appreciate the support. But in either case, check them out. It takes you links directly there. But it's audiobook only when I was looking at the link. If you can find a paperback, let me know, because I own a paperback or a hardcover of every book I ever listen to, just to have it, just to lend to people when they ask. I think that it's important, especially when you're connecting with people that you care about. If they start talking about a topic, I really like to have the book on hand just to give to them and say, go take it and enjoy. So if someone doesn't, I don't own that book. That's one of the few that I don't own that I've listened to. But it's a compilation of all of like kind of his best advice and sayings and just different speakings he's had. And it's awesome. Like, it's a very well-rounded book. Lots of tidbits, lots of just little things you can take with you about habits and goal setting in life. And he talks a lot about goal setting in all the areas of life, which I think is why I like him a lot, is that he doesn't just focus on business. He talks about goals like for health and, for your family and for travel and for things that you want, like he's not even material things. And he kind of breaks everything down in all these buckets and then builds around them, and you build your goals and you kind of everything around that. And I really like how he views it. I like how he looks at it. And he talks a lot about having goals that are beyond yourself, and why that's important to driving your business, and that you'll be a lot more productive if your goals go beyond you. So like for me, my eBay business isn't just about me. Like, my eBay business is about freedom. It's about having financial stability. It's about being able to spend more time with my family and friends. It's, about choices. And so for me, my goals are outside of myself. And so I have a lot of motivation to wake up early, to stay up late, to do things like that. And I think that's why I like his perspective a lot. I definitely, recommend that as a read. If you're interested, I would rank that third of the ones I've talked about so far, as like really, immediate practice, but you definitely should. Demetrius Jeffords just said, check out Cash Cow by Holton Buggs. Haven't heard of that, but I definitely will. And yeah, guys, feel free, leave in the comments, especially even after the video, if you have other recommendations or things. I've read a lot of books, but there are so many I haven't, and I love to hear about new ones. I try to get to like one a month. I'm a big fan of consuming and applying the content instead of just racing through it. So I actually don't read a ton of books in volume, but I spend a lot of time on the ones I do read, and I really try to take pieces from them and apply it, which is also something I'll recommend back to you guys. If consuming these, go slowly. Reread chapters, take notes. It really helps, and there's a lot to grab from it. Sorry, I just need to move this a little closer. Oops, lay it down. Sorry, guys. We have a bit of a new setup here, and my light wasn't cooperating. Almost just fell. So number 4, I'm just going to kind of peek in the chat here, make sure we're okay. Number 4 is the compound effect, or not compound, I'm sorry, is 10x rule by Grant Cardone. This one was, so it's very in your face. He is very, I would say, very opinionated about all his views on money and life and things like that. But there's a lot of practical information in there on goal setting itself and why setting stretch goals means so much, which was something that I didn't realize. I realized, like, after consuming it, that I set goals that were too low pretty frequently. I had like kind of that old adage of set realistic goals, set goals that that you can hit, build confidence by taking out little things. And one thing that he really pushes is just setting basically 10x goals, right? The title 10x, setting these huge goals, because even if you land a little short, right, you're still further ahead than if you set the original goal that you're going to set, right? If I set 10 times the goal that it would have came to mind, and I get halfway there, I'm still 5 times further than the original goal I would have set. And on the flip side, the other part of the 10x is he talks a lot about whatever effort you think you need to finish something or do something, count on it taking 10 times more. So basically, just don't underestimate ever, and always overestimate the effort you're going to need to accomplish something. And that way you're always going to succeed at it. And it's actually it's really simple idea and concept, but it's really profound and hard to put into practice. I think my pallets I just ordered is a really good example of that. Like, in my head, so much it was going to be easy. And if I had just taken that 10x approach to thinking it was going to take this much more effort to be successful with it, I think I would have been even more prepared. And some of the things I talked about last night, I would have already had handled and wouldn't be dealing with. So, I definitely recommend Grant Cardone. I listen to a lot of this stuff on YouTube. Some of it's good, some of it's bad. I mean, that's the same with everyone, guys, even my content, right? Some of my stuff will apply to you and some of it won't. And that's with every content producer. Some is going to resonate and some isn't. But it's important that you take the little pieces from each of them. And that's why I'm trying to highlight these 5 that have really impacted me. And it's not that the whole book impacted me. It's that parts of it really transformed my eBay business and helped me, with building my business. So that's kind of the aim here. And the last one is, and actually, let me just double check chat before I finish this off here. Carlos asked if I ever read Art of the Deal. I have not. I have not done that. I need to add that to my list, though. Is that by Grant Cardone, Krillin? I feel like that is, but maybe not. Southern Draw Gal said, honestly, that you definitely motivate me. Thanks a lot. And I appreciate that. I'm glad that it's helping at least one person. So that's good. All right. So fifth one here, last one just to wrap up, and then we'll just kind of have some Q&A and some back and forth is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And that's by Robert Kiyosaki. And this is really more of like just an overall foundational money education, somewhat goal setting, somewhat entrepreneurial, but really just basic wealth building principles. And it breaks it down in a way that's really easy to understand, talks about the way cash works, talks about the way money works, the way it flows, the different, kind of understand the difference between an asset and a liability, and not in an accounting way, like understanding if something's cash producing versus if it's not. Like that's really the only thing that matters. And there's just a lot of really interesting foundational stuff in it that really changed the way I viewed building wealth. Because building wealth and making money are two completely different things. And I think that his book really hones in on the building wealth aspect, which I think is the one that's not talked about all the time. And I'm by no means an expert, but it's definitely helped me in understanding long-term how I'm going to build wealth. Like not just I'm going to build a business. I want to build a business that produces cash and supports me. But then what do I do with that? Like how do I turn that into long-term wealth? Because that's just, cash flow is just short-term, right? It's transactional. No matter what, it's always going to be transactional at some level. And so how do you turn that into wealth versus just transactional cash flow? That's the best way I can summarize that. And there's just a lot of good principles and just, ways to view the world and things like that in it. But definitely an awesome book to kind of round out the other four we talked about. So yeah, those 5 are what I would recommend if for any reseller, anyone just, starting out, or anyone who's been reselling for a long time. I mean, honestly, if you have never read these 5 books, I feel like anyone at any stage of entrepreneurship or just life in general, they're all worth reading because they're all philosophy-based too, right? Like in any area of life, you can really apply them to. But specifically, if you're an eBayer, I think they have direct benefit to your eBay business, how you approach it, how you do those things. So yeah, that would be my recommendation. Let me just check the chat here. Hi, Terry. Thanks for stopping in. Terry is graciously moderates when she has time for a lot of our live shows. So big shout out to Terry. Give her some love in the chat. Really appreciate all that you do. She moderates over on Rockstar Flipper's channel as well. She does an awesome job. So really appreciate that, Terry. So yeah, I guess let's just do some Q&A. And if you can, just put in the chat books that you've read, because like that was kind of my other secret motivation for this, was I wanted to find out other books I haven't heard of that other people have read, because I know there's a lot out there. I'm just kind of jotting these down and typing them out as I can here. And just to go back to Jason's comment about pool, don't let him downplay. He is very good at pool. See what else we got here. 12-week year. What is 12-week year by? I see South of Martindale just said that. Who wrote that? 3 Feet from Gold by Napoleon Hill. Oh, that's a good one. So Napoleon Hill in general has awesome stuff. One of the I'm trying to think one of the other Think and Grow Rich is like Napoleon Hill's biggest fundamental book. I didn't include that I didn't include that in my list, not because it's not good, but I feel like these other 5 that I've listened, and guys, I'll recap here in a minute the 5 titles for those of you just joining. I'm sorry. But Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, all these other 5 kind of take all the core principles out of it, especially Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So yeah, I mean, you can definitely, I recommend if you have time to go through it, but these other 5 I just think have kind of replaced it a bit. Not replaced it, but just touch on it. So just to recap for anyone who's just joined, the 5 titles that that I'm recommending are, we've got, I'll just start. Compound Effect was the first one. That was kind of my favorite, most impactful, by Darren Hardy. 6 Months to Six Figures by Peter Voog. We've got, in the order I said, Art of Exceptional Living by Jim Rohn. We have the 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. And we've got Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. So those are the 5 that I'm recommending. Those are the ones that have impacted me the most. and there's other books out there, and there's lots of things that impact you, and I'm still learning and growing as I keep reading more books. But these are just, I've had a lot of people ask me like, hey, what are the ones that were most influential early on? What are the ones that impact you? So I just kind of wanted to summarize them for everyone in this video. So 12-Week Year is written by, sorry, I gotta scroll up, Moran and Lennington. All right, thanks, South of Martindale. I appreciate you sharing. I'm going to add that to my reading list. Wayne Hamilton said, Loops, The 7 Keys to Small Business Success by Vince Moravec. Awesome. I'll add that as well. Thank you. Acres of Diamonds, Thrift Daddy just recommended. Deborah said, Terry Luke is coming to Florida. Yeah, so I am coming to Florida this fall at some point. We haven't figured out what day, but when I do, I definitely will be reaching out to visit some people. We have to make some not last minute, but you guys got to firm up some plans for our wedding, so we'll be down there. Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy is another one South Martindale recommended. Yeah, and you know what? Brian Tracy is one I've heard a lot of good things about. I just haven't read a lot of his stuff yet, but it definitely has some on my list. So hopefully I can get to that here soon. Getting married in the Tampa area, Michael Joseph, and hopefully no one minds, but not going to share the exact location where I'm getting married on my YouTube channel, just because I don't want anyone to come and crash my wedding. Paul DeLeo said, I'm glad you brought, I almost had, Gary Vaynerchuk almost cracked my list, but I tried to keep it to what ones have impacted my eBay business. And he's definitely impacted more of like social media, like trying to document my journey and trying to document my business. So I kind of left him out, but I mean, Gary Vaynerchuk is probably my favorite person to consume content for. I know I've talked about in other videos, he has a YouTube video called August, which is like really what springboarded me into going nuts on my eBay business. So if you just YouTube August by Gary Vaynerchuk, that's an awesome one. He has another couple. He just is a really good motivator. But yeah, Jab, Jab, Right Hook by Gary Vaynerchuk's awesome, especially if you're into social media and things like that. Crush It by him is really, really good. He's coming out with Crushed It. I guess January, I think he just came out with a release. So I can't wait to read that. But yeah, he's kind of my favorite. So Paul, I'm glad you brought him up. Deborah keeps bringing up the romper for Casey. Yeah, so yeah, hopefully I'm not the one wearing the romper by June 10th. That's all I can say about that. I'm actually going to go list more pants after I get offline here. Oh, so David Holland's brought Les Brown, The Courage to Live Your Dreams, one of the best. Awesome. I'm going to have to, one of the best is probably what you said. So Courage to Live Your Dreams. I got to check that out. I've heard a lot about Les Brown too, that he's got some really good stuff. Yeah, Chef Honey Rob, Paul said the same thing about Jab, Jab, Right Hook. Let's Go by Pat Flynn, Paul just said. Hey, Rhino, thanks for stopping in. Terry, if he does have to wear the romper, make sure you buy a really nice pattern one, all right? Make sure it's obnoxious for me. Miracle. Oh, wow. Thanks for bringing that up, South Martindale. Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. So yeah, I'm surprised I left this off my list. I guess it would be still off of my top 5, but it's all about morning routines, and I've listened to it twice. It's excellent. It's very, very good. But he really dives into the science behind why starting your morning off early and in routine matters. He even talks about like the different levels of alertness when you wake up and the different activities that can wake you up, as you're getting up, like brushing your teeth, drinking water, like how your body's dehydrated after you sleep, and then having water next to your bed and chugging it when you wake up makes a huge difference. So that's one, guys. If you're looking to develop routine in your life and you really haven't got to that point yet and you're kind of all over the place, Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, I would say get that right away. It was awesome. So I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you. Hey, Flip Flops. Yeah, I'm up late. My sleep schedule's still messed up, but still getting the same hours of productivity and just getting them in a little later right now. Monday, well, not Monday, it's Memorial Day, but Tuesday, I will be back to the 4 a.m. grind. I'm excited. This month's been weird. Like, I started off on track, and then I was off track because we traveled, and then I got back on track with 4 a.m. for like a week and a half, and then my cousin came, and I got messed up. So my sleep schedule has been like all over the freaking place. Phil Murray said, Scott Adams, How to Fail at Everything and Still Win Big. That sounds cool. I'll add that to my list too. Thanks, guys, for sharing all these. There's actually been a ton here that I haven't recognized, and I spent a lot of my time sifting through next things to consume, so this is awesome. Paul just said in the chat he agrees that having a disciplined routine is critical to the sustained reselling success. Yeah, I totally agree, Paul. And even though I'm not full-time and I can't totally relate to what it'd be like controlling my time 100%, I can say that if you don't have routine, even in the half or part-timers, like it's hard to keep motivated, to keep moving forward if you don't have clear goals, clear and consistent routines. And you'll end up kind of in that up and down, I don't know, like the kind of the back and forth, half in, half out, if you don't have those clear defined routines and goals. So I totally agree. And Thomas, great point. Says YouTube has dozens of motivational audios. Absolutely. And all these authors we're talking about, guys, if you just type them into YouTube, right, you type in their names, a lot of times people put together mixes of like all their greatest content too. I actually do that with Tony Robbins quite a bit. I have to be in the mood to listen to his voice just because it is a very powerful voice. His content's great, but I have to be in the mood to consume it. But I'll consume a lot of his stuff via YouTube. Although I will say, if his latest audiobook, Unshakable, he only reads a couple chapters, but it's all about investing. And it's really, really good. I was impressed by it. I've learned a lot through it because it's not really my strong suit. Demetrius said, just recently started listening to Scavenger Life podcast. Oh, I haven't listened to that, but I might have to get in. I'll have to check that out. All right, guys, it has been almost a half hour. I think I am going to call it a night and get back down. I'm going to do another hour of listing some LL Bean pants, and then I get to bed. And then I got a long day tomorrow working. I've got help coming, Corinne's son for my Prof Sales Channels coming to help me break down a bunch of boxes and such and get the rest of the orders sorted so that I can just bang out the rest of these listings. So going to be a long day tomorrow. I definitely will bring another video. Not sure what the topic's going to be. Just going to kind of see how the day goes, and we'll make sure to bring something cool to you guys. Hope you guys have an awesome Memorial Day weekend. I keep forgetting it's a holiday weekend. It's exciting for me. 3 days of just work is awesome like this. I love it. So yeah, have a good night, guys. Really appreciate everyone tuning in. If you're interested in any of the books and want quick links, I have the Amazon links, the affiliates in my bottom of my description. Feel free to check them out. Hopefully this was beneficial and you have some good leads on some self-development. And Krillin just said to me, don't get discouraged. Those pants are very long tail. I will not, Krillin. I appreciate the support as we kind of get through this LL Bean bulk purchase journey together. So thank you, guys. Have an awesome night. Really appreciate the love. Appreciate the support. We will definitely talk soon. I'll be back at you guys tomorrow.